So, Purplebricks finally strikes a deal. Pardon the pun, but as many of you may well be aware, the shares in Purplebricks dipped below 1 penny as they finally struck a deal with online agent Strike. So, the company that not that long ago was valued at 1.3 billion was sold for the token gesture of £1 to Strike, who have invested millions into their online estate agency model and still have not returned a profit. Strike are apparently going to take over the Purplebricks brand and move over to it. Not sure if that's such a good idea, considering that it is a failed model and will continue to be so. You cannot automate an industry that requires professional human interaction. Buying a home is an emotional process. It is not like buying a phone accessory from Amazon, and it never will be. Any effort to try to convince people otherwise is dishonest. It cannot happen and never will. And I believe that all other online models will follow suit. I'm not sure where this leaves the thousands of people who have paid Purplebricks so much money. The way Strike operates, they don't ask for a fee, but they have conditions that you have to use their recommended solicitors and valuers and various other services along those lines. I'm not sure how strictly they enforce it, but in some ways, in my opinion, that could be worse, because your chosen conveyancer can make or break the deal, especially if there is a time factor. Once again, that's not something that can be automated. Some of the best modern conveyancers will respond to you in the evenings, in the weekend. They'll know if there is something that needs to be done urgently, and they'll chase it up. These are decisions that even AI can't really replace. Now, the problem is that the entire industry has basically competed itself into the ground. And the reason I say this is that the largest estate agents in the country, especially in London, actually have the lowest performance. Many of them sell less than 30% of the listings that they take on, but that doesn't matter to them. They take on lots and lots because people like sheep go to the national corporate chains first, and the corporate chains don't actually sell your house. They are simply concerned about the properties that will be bought, because they only concern themselves with the lowest hanging fruit. They don't care about the rest because they won't waste time on them. In essence, what they have done is they have reduced the commission to a point where professional agents struggle to be able to cover their costs and offer a professional service. And although many of you may consider that agents get paid enough as it is, you need to consider the overheads that they have, mainly the portals, which I'll get into in a minute, and the properties that they may not sell, the properties that are withdrawn, that fall down, all of these. And when the fees have been reduced to be on par with companies who do not offer really any form of professional service, it makes it very, very difficult for the agents who do want to give you their time, because they basically work themselves to death. They're at a disadvantage in terms of portals, because Rightmove, for example, doesn't factor the small agent. They have a set fee, which is very, very high. And once again, for the corporates, in that one postcode district, their right move fee may be divided between 10 or 15 offices. It's nothing compared to a one-man band that still has to pay the same amount, or probably pays more because the corporates will get discounts, and then it will be divided up amongst all the different offices. Rightmove on average make over £200 million a year in profit, and their contribution to the property industry is zero. They make a few token gestures, but generally their contribution is zero. They are owned by investors in other parts of the world. They don't care less about our property prices, property crisis. They don't care less about the industry as a whole. They don't care less about anything. In effect, they are professional leeches. And sadly, the vast majority of agents pay this blood money to Rightmove because they daren't go it alone. Most people believe that their property on Rightmove is what will sell their property, but in actual fact, most professional agents' sales don't come from the portals. They come from their website, their network, their social media, because over 90% of home movers buy a home within 10 miles of where they live. Therefore, over 90% of home movers are looking within 10 miles of where they live, and it is the agent's network and increasingly so social media that has a more profound effect on the exposure of your property than the portals do. What most consumers do not realize that the vast majority of agents are not on Rightmove to sell property. They are on Rightmove to win listings by their presence. Personally, we're not on Rightmove. We don't need them. We can guarantee that your property will not be sat on a shelf with all of the rest of the properties, because we don't stack them high and leave them dry. We market a property, we market it exclusively, and we look after our clients. That's how we work. I know there are others who work the same way, and it's actually a wonderful feeling that we don't contribute and feel compelled to hand over this blood money to Rightmove on a monthly basis because we don't need them. For other agents, you pay your money, you take your choice, it's up to you. But in the end, the consumer loses out, because when agents are chasing their tail to maintain the overheads by paying this blood money to Rightmove on a monthly basis, it puts them at a disadvantage. It puts them under pressure, and those who suffer in the end are their clients. As for the thousands of Purplebricks victims who have been missold a dream that they can sell their property online, I've said it before, online agents do not sell property, they sell advertising. So please think carefully before you place your most valuable asset in the hands of people who know nothing about the industry and who don't care. I know that not all agents are the same, and as I've said many, many times, think carefully before you go directly to one of the corporates. Think about one of the local independent agents, self-employed agents who have a vested interest to look after your property, to look after you, and to sell your property, because if they don't do that, they won't have any income whatsoever. They will be the ones who really, really will look after you. And there are thousands of them up and down the country, all battling for their share of the market, because the UK is institutionalized with Rightmove and the corporate chains. And believe me, they do not care about you, your property, or the property market as a whole. They do not care about the ethics of our society and the crisis that we are in, where the vast majority of young people are just resigning themselves to never owning a home. As far as I'm concerned, that is a moral catastrophe for the entire country. And I point the finger at these institutions for being a major contribution to this, along with the policy of this and previous governments that have contributed to the catastrophe that we now face. Because this has not just been a campaign in favour of the corporates in whatever field that may be. Small developers have been pushed out, small landlords have been pushed out, and despite the media hype, by far the worst landlords are the corporate landlords, not the individuals. Yes, I'm sure up and down the country there are cases of individuals who are terrible landlords, but it's the odd one here or there. Corporate landlords who have hundreds of properties have no excuse for allowing their tenants to live in squalor, let alone some of the tragic accidents that we've seen over the last few years. Anyway, that's my rant over. Watch out for Purplebricks in its new guise. Don't be tempted to go down that route and find an agent. That's all for today. See you next time.